So I just saw Late Night with the Devil, and like I've heard from a lot of different people, it's very good. In fact, it's probably the best horror movie that I've seen this year so far. But this isn't really a review or any kind of analysis of the movie itself, really just kind of a observational checkup on the state of horror movies at this point, because I have a lot to say. I also just feel a bit out of depth with kind of breaking down Late Night with the Devil. I feel like there's a lot there to unpack, and I just don't feel like I've processed it enough to really talk about. I don't know if I'd have many interesting things to say about, or things to say that other people haven't said, because it has been out for a little while now. But I'm excited to go back, see what other people take from it, the meanings that they gathered from it, because that stuff's always interesting to me. But what I really want to talk about is kind of just how they need to make more movies like this. A lot of people argue that horror is on its way out, and obviously I'd vehemently disagree. I mean, even look at just 2022, that was an excellent year for horror movies, especially original horror movies. Just overall, a ton of unique and interesting ideas and projects like X, Barbarian. We were also getting some kick-ass breakout surprises like Terrifier 2, new Jordan Peele movie. What is there not to love from that year? Even though 2023 wasn't as strong, I'd argue, of a year as 2022, we still had some hidden gems. We still had Infinity Pool, Cobweb, Talk to Me especially was a huge hit last year. Not to mention a great return to form for the long-running Saw franchise. But with 2024, although I feel like there are some gems, like I mentioned, they're not high-performing ones. I just saw a chart showing that Night Swim had the highest domestic opening weekend for a horror movie in 2024, and that's shocking. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of other people say it is. It's definitely a terrible horror movie, definitely very generic, pretty much typical Blumhouse PG-13 horror movie. It's very safe, doesn't do much new, doesn't take any risks, and I kind of resent that. My main worry with this is that this is what the studios are going to get the wrong idea and greenlight more Night Swims while putting Late Night with the Devils on the back burner or kicking them to streaming. And look at me, I'm no snob when it comes to horror movies. I'll have fun with the schlockiest, shittiest horror movie that you can possibly think up. I love slashers, I love all kinds of horror movies. I mean, look at Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. Low budget, fun horror movie. I felt the passion there, so I really enjoyed it. But when you get to movies like Imaginary, which is my least favorite movie of the year so far, and Night Swim, they just feel like corporate products, and it feels like there's no passion there. And I know it's not fair. I know I'm being a little bit denigrating towards the filmmakers by saying things like this, but they don't feel like, like works of art or anything like that. They feel like crap. Like I said, corporately churned products, completely generic, with the sole intention of taking your money. And is there a solution? I'm not really sure there is. That's kind of the nature of the game. When you have a PG-13 horror movie that more people can go to, you're gonna have teenagers flock to them and be on their phones the whole time and do the typical shit. But I'm worried that this is what horror is going to become, or predominantly become, and I don't want that at all. I don't want safe, I don't want neutered horror. That's just the last thing that I want. Blumhouse became what it was not by making these safe PG-13 horror movies for low budgets. They became Blumhouse by giving a little bit of money to these kind of interesting creatives, directors, letting them make movies like Paranormal Activity, be transgressive and creative, and tried some new things. But the studio now just feels so risk-averse and afraid to offend anybody, and just so focused on making money that they're willing to do anything to cut costs. And that translates to doing stuff like neutering or watering down horror movies, which I hate. I just really hope that we continue to get horror movies with kind of the style and the flair of Late Night with the Devil, because movies like that matter, especially when you're talking about horror. There's no future if you keep making movies like Imaginary and Night Swim, because eventually people are going to stop taking the call, people are going to stop going to the theater, and why would they? I know that the general audience for those movies are not exactly the ones that are looking for quality, but horror movies have such a dedicated and built-in fan base, and kind of a fan base that's used to getting a shit sandwich. So sometimes it feels like studios feel perfectly okay giving us whatever. They think they could give us anything and we'll just take it down lying and pay for it no matter what. I don't want that to be the case. I kind of want to reward horror movies that have that creative edge to them, ones that feel like they're actually trying to say something, rather than just giving money to another Night Swim, giving money to another Imaginary. I don't want movies like this anymore. Imaginary is the most boring movie I've seen in so long. Do I think this is going to completely kill the horror genre, or that we're never going to get anything like that again with Late Night with the Devil? No, but, I'm a bit concerned that that's not going to become the main priority, especially when you look at the numbers. Look at the fact that Night Swim was more successful than anything else. The fact that it took in more, made more, probably churned it for cheaper, it just concerns me that they're going to get the wrong ideas here. And yet, it's not like other mainstays aren't making money still. We're still going to get another Terrifier movie, and I'm sure that that's going to make a hell of a lot of money compared to its budget. But on the other hand, I'm also still worried about some of these other projects that, might not even be greenlit because they're like, well, why would I make this weird, inventive horror movie when I could just go with the cheap, safe PG-13 option that will guarantee a return? It's that studio thinking that just crept into Blumhouse, and it's giving it brain rot, and it really feels like it is a thing of just risk aversity. Jason Blum openly admitted that they spoiled movies in their trailer and give everything away because the statistics show them that that's what makes people show up. That's sad. That's embarrassing. Not only can you not make interesting horror movies, or at least rarely, you also have to spoil the movie ahead of time because that guarantees you more money. These moves are not long-term moves. These are not going to give you long-time growth, win you more fans. Hey, maybe it'll give you the easy ticket, but will it give you the actual ticket to the fan base? Will it make people show up? And I know there's such a difference between online people and, general audiences. General audiences, that's who you have to win over at the end of the day. What I'm saying is that no matter what, your fan base is what backs you at the end of the day, and if you alienate all of them, I don't know what to tell you. It's just not a good plan. And I hate that they make these decisions based off of algorithms and what's going to make them the most money. That's what they focus on the most, and it kind of sucks. But overall, that's a lot of me just saying things to kind of sum up that I just want more original horror. I want more movies like Late Night with the Devil, less movies like Imaginary. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I'm GM Light. Have a good one.